All right, let's talk cryptocurrency. We might play this interview back in a couple of years' time and actually giggle at ourselves saying, imagine those murky waters we were trying to get through in the days when Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies was something we weren't too sure about. Well, the South African Revenue Service deems cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, etc., as intangible assets and therefore warns taxpayers to declare gains and losses in these currencies. SARS says the onus is upon taxpayers to declare their cryptocurrency gains and losses, and failure to do so will lead to interest and penalties. Let's get a little bit more understanding on all of this. And joining us in studio is Andrew West, the Senior Manager of Legal Counsel at SARS. Andrew, thank you very, very much for joining us. Good to have you here.
Good morning, thank you.
So, let me get this right. Are you relying on the honesty and integrity of taxpayers to come forward and tell you, listen, this is how much I made or this is how much I lost on Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency they invest in?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, good. Because I'm not sure that's going to happen.
No. I think it does present a challenge to SARS because the nature of cryptocurrencies is such that it is very opaque and difficult to detect. So whilst we seem to have a firm grip on how we are going to tax these cryptocurrencies, the detection is going to be a bigger issue, and we're very busy working on that at the moment, anticipating that the possibility that cryptocurrencies will grow into a bigger thing.
So as it stands right now, if somebody here in South Africa has made a lot of money in cryptocurrencies, how will you know?
Well, your point is true to some extent that we have to rely on taxpayers. We require them to declare it in their tax return. And if they fail to do so, then they'll be subject to penalties and interest. So, yes, we might not pick it up immediately, but behind the scenes, and I don't want to go into exactly what we're doing, we are working on ways of detecting these transactions. But yes, it presents a challenge not only to SARS, but to regulators worldwide.
Yeah. You know, quite interesting. And I was reading this during just a little bit of research for the interview, and I came across a quote from somebody who is very, very familiar with regard to cryptocurrencies, saying that regulating cryptocurrencies prematurely can actually throttle the growth and innovation of such an industry. Is that why you're finding that around the world this is a very difficult industry to regulate right now?
Absolutely. I think we're all grappling with the concepts behind it. And so we actually don't want to go into it too early. There's obviously been some pressure on SARS to come out with a view as to how we should tax it, especially because of the recent volatility and the increased media hype arising from that.
Yeah. But so at this point, there are no plans to regulate cryptocurrencies right now, or the industry?
At the moment, we're very much looking at it. Again, there are plans as to what they're going to do. That hasn't been decided yet.
The talk of a self-regulatory body, can you expand a little on that, though?
Well, a lot of the crypto exchanges, there are some now, equivalent to stock exchanges, they are very much in favor almost of being regulated or self-regulating because it helps to give them credence to what they're doing as well. Without a SARS recognizing them, it's problematic for them. So there is a growing calls from legitimate players in the market to self-regulate for that reason.
An important question, and I think, we obviously here in South Africa, you don't have too many portals that allow you to pay in cryptocurrency. I know it's still coming. There are a couple, but not too many. But it's growing. It's starting to take traction. We can see that. But in terms of taxpayers, let's get back to them. I have read, and please correct me, that you can, as a taxpayer, claim expenses associated with cryptocurrencies. Can you?
Yes, absolutely. The position is, let me just take you back to the way we tax it, is that we tax cryptocurrencies the same way as we would any other asset, the proceeds on any other asset. And associated with that, if you have proceeds, you are entitled to claim the expenditure associated with earning the income from the cryptocurrencies. So yes, they can claim that expenditure and losses if they have any.
Well, what about capital gains tax? Because at the end of the day, a cryptocurrency it's intangible.
Yes, correct. Well, in South Africa, there are two ways that people can be taxed. It's either on capital account or revenue account, and that depends on the intention of the taxpayer, whether they want to hold the asset for a long-term purpose as an investment, or whether they actively trade in it. If they hold it with the intention as a capital asset, then yes, capital gains tax will apply, and we have provisions in the Income Tax Act which already can tax it.
Talking about taxing all of these things, what about VAT? Has government figured out how VAT will actually apply to cryptocurrencies?
Yes, I think the VAT implications are similarly quite clear. The problem is that in some instances it gives undesirable results, which may, from a policy perspective, be a bit difficult or something that government might not be that happy with. At the beginning of the year, National Treasury announced in the budget speech that they would be looking at cryptocurrencies, and there was particular mention of that. So we might see some changes in the next legislative cycle which will deal with that.
Yeah. I mean, just, Andrew, in terms of watching the flow of money coming in and out of the country, how are you able to do this through cryptocurrencies? As you say, this is something that is it's kind of anonymous transactions. You don't know who it belongs to. It's all through numbers. It's a very mysterious industry. How are you keeping tabs on all of this?
Well, as I say, I think this is the difficulty. We are getting more involved with the crypto exchanges to see if we can improve our relationships and get an understanding of it. But yes, it's in its infancy. Just like the concept of cryptocurrencies are in its infancy, the regulation and detection and following the trails, the transaction trails, is equally difficult. I don't have a specific answer for you on that.
Yeah.
It's still, as I say, completely in the infancy
well,
stage.
Like I say, when you watch this interview a couple of years in the future, I suppose we'll look back and say, wow, we really didn't know too much, did we? But now we do. So let's see how it all goes. Andrew West, thank you very, very much for talking to us, hopefully giving you a little bit more insight as to where SARS stands with regard to cryptocurrencies. He's a senior manager of legal counsel at SARS, and the tax implications with regard to gains and losses in the cryptocurrencies. Let's take a break. We'll see you after this with news.